Dragonling, Chapter 6. Getting the Great Blue to adopt Xantor would be tricky. Xantor was not yet strong enough to fly down into the valley himself, and Derek wasn't about to walk him down. The best chance, he decided, would be to get the Dragonling up to the Great Blue's cave while she was away. If she came home and found him in her nest, she might be more likely to accept him as her own. Knowing what to do and doing it, however, were two different matters. The cave was high up on the mountainside. Climbing would be difficult, and worse, they would be in plain sight of the dragons. Derek decided that they'd make the climb at night and then hide in the bushes near the mouth of the cave until the Great Blue went out in the morning. Derek ate a large supper of cheese and milk and bread, and then topped it off with a generous helping of berries that he and Xantor had found. When the sun was down, Xantor started scuffling around, nose to the ground. He pushed a couple sticks together and started to blow on them. "No, Xantor," said Derek. "No campfire tonight." He picked up the sticks and tossed them into the woods. Far back down the mountain pass, a bright flicker in the darkness caught his eye. A campfire. Derek took a deep breath and let it out slowly. It was a search party, he was sure. His father and Clep and the others had come after him. He'd been so busy thinking ahead that he'd never thought back about the trail he was leaving. He guessed them to be about a day's journey behind him. He still had a chance to make his plan work, but there would be no second chances. Derek sat down and looked at Xantor. "I don't know if you understand me at all," he said, "but what I have to say is very important. You and I are going up there." He pointed to himself, then to Xantor, then to the cave. "We're going now, tonight. Do you understand?" Xantor stared where Derek pointed. "Wrong," he said. "It is going to be wrong," said Derek, "but we can make it. Just follow me and be quiet." Derek put his hand around Xantor's mouth and held it shut to show him what quiet meant. Then he moved off into the darkness. The Dragonling followed. Climbing was hard and slow. Xantor seemed better at it than Derek. He was lighter for one thing, and his claws were good at finding niches to hold on to. Derek's hands grew sore and numb from the night chill. Several times he found himself wondering again why he was risking his life for a dragon. Suddenly, there was a piercing shriek. From a cave across the valley, two dragons appeared. They roared and charged at each other. Their fiery breath lit up the night. Derek flattened himself against the rock, hoping the noise wouldn't waken the Great Blue. Xantor whimpered. The two dragons, both yellows, went on screeching for a while, then quieted down and went back into the same cave. Derek chuckled. "Perhaps they are husband and wife," he whispered to Xantor. "I've heard arguments like back in the village." Derek and Xantor edged onward. They had almost reached the cave when Derek felt himself slipping. He grabbed hold of a small bush and kicked out, madly trying to find safe footing. There was none. Derek's heart sank. His hands were so sore and tired he could hardly hang on. So this was how it was going to end? His father and Clep would find him dead at the bottom of the cliffs? What a fool he'd been! Suddenly, something tugged at the back of his neck, and Derek felt himself rising. He was dragged up and up until he was on firm ground again. Xantor landed beside him, breathing heavily. "You?" said Derek. "You lifted me up with those little wings?" Xantor seemed too tired to answer. He just laid his head in Derek's lap. Derek stroked it gently. "Maybe you are growing into your name," he whispered. And that was chapter 6 of Dragonling.